What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to show you a few things that you should look for when trying to buy a Mercedes from 1998 all the way to 2006. All the things that I'm going to talk about apply to the V6 or the V8, M112 and M113 engines, and the 722.6 transmission, the 5-speed electronically controlled transmission. So hopefully this video will be a helpful guide to anyone who's trying to get a Mercedes from that era. And I just want to say, before I start mentioning the things that go wrong, I want to say that the engine and the transmission are very robust. They last a very long time if they are well taken care of, and they develop some minor issues, and I will try my best to show you everything I know about these cars. I have a little bit of experience with them, so I'm gonna put it all in this video, and hopefully it helps somebody out there. And I just want to mention before, try and stay away from the aromatic suspension if you're not planning to spend $1,000 or more on fixing it whenever it goes wrong. So this car has the regular coil spring suspension. That's the best way to go. And with that being said and out of the way, let's get started with the video. The hood here. Okay, the engine. Starting with the engine. The engine is very strong. It is bulletproof. It's a single overhead can, 3.2 liters. But there's a lot of things around the engine that can go wrong. So let's start with the belt area here. The idler, the tensioner, and the harmonic balancer are common failures. Every 50,000-60,000 miles you have to replace these. So if you look over there, that's the harmonic balancer. I had to replace that. It was wobbling. There is rubber that goes between the pulley and around it. It dampens the vibrations. This rubber starts to deteriorate, and then eventually, if you don't get it fixed, replaced, it can fly off and cause a lot of damage to the round and the radiator and the engine block and the oil pan. So that's a common failure. How you check for it? You turn the engine on, and then you just look from the side, try and see if it vibrates back and forth. If it doesn't, that means probably it's okay. If it does, it means it needs replacing. Okay, so looking at this harmonic balancer, see, it doesn't wobble, it doesn't move back and forth. It spins on a straight line. So this one is new, so this is how it should look like. That's for the belt drive area. Around the engine, the motor mounts are filled with hydraulic fluid. They're not rubber like other cars, polyurethane or whatever. They're filled with hydraulic fluid, and they go wrong really every 60,000 miles, every 2 years, 3 years or so. It depends. If you drive hard, you'll have to replace them often. So the motor mounts and the transmission mount, it's in the back of the transmission. So these go wrong every 2-3 years. So how you check? You start the engine, and then you put it in drive, and then you put it in drive and you hit the brake. You hit the brake hard. You don't let the car move, and you just push the gas a little bit, and you'll see the engine kind of shifting upwards. This one has been replaced. I replaced that too. So you'll get some kind of vibrations when you put it in drive, and when you put it back in neutral or park, it goes away. So that's a really common thing with these Mercedes engines. And going backward to the transmission is a very, very robust. It's a great transmission. It can last you 400,000 miles. But the only thing that there's a conductor plate that sits above the valve body, and I did a complete video on how to replace the conductor plate, and I will link it in the description. and it just goes out every 100,000 miles or so. You will have to replace it every I don't know, you will start losing second gear. The car won't go into second gear, sometimes won't go into third gear. You'll get a check engine light with a few transmission related codes, and it's a bit of a bigger job, but you can get it done, no problem. And there's also a plug on the side of the transmission that leaks. That plug connects the conductor plate to the transmission control module and the passenger kick panel, and if you don't get that leak fixed, you have to replace it. It's a $20 part. It will, the fluid will eventually make its way up to the control module. Okay, so that is it for the engine and the transmission. Again, they're very good engine and transmission, but the things around them that keep going go wrong. But if you keep an eye on everything, you will really have a good engine and transmission. Okay, now the suspension. The suspension again is very strong if you have the coil and spring struts, but most actually these cars have the airmatic suspension, the airbags that can lower and higher the car on air, and they have a compressor up in the front behind the bumper that supplies all the airbags. They call them air struts. It supplies them with air, and this system is very good. It handles very good. It makes the car feel very nice and you know, comfortable and luxurious. But when it goes wrong, it really goes wrong. So what you want to do if you're trying to buy one of these cars that has the airmatic, this one does not. So what you want to do, you want to turn the car off and pull the key and lock the car so it goes in sleep mode, and you want to leave the car for about 10 or 15 minutes and see if it leaks. If it leaks, you're gonna see the car drop down, and you will know which one leaks. The rear ones are less expensive than the front ones, but overall the system is very expensive to fix. The rear ones, I believe, are $250 a piece. So if you want to replace both rear airbags, that's going to be $500, and the front ones, I believe, are $400 a piece, plus the pump, plus all the system, you know, fittings and wirings, and it's just not nonsense. I don't think it's necessary. Now, another thing in the suspension, I don't know if you can see here. See these bushings in the control arms, the back bushings? These keep going out all the time. I replaced both control arms. It's a better financial decision than taking the old ones and press the bushings out and get them. I don't have a press, and the tool is expensive, so I replaced them. They're like $50 a part, aftermarket. Again, their aftermarket parts are like all over the place, and it needs an alignment after that. So just keep that in mind. You'll get a shimmy, you'll get a shake when you hit the brakes and stuff like that. It's gonna make a clunking noise. So just take it for a test drive, make sure that's clear, and anything you see wrong with the car, you can negotiate the price. These cars are very strong and very robust, but they're not loved so much here in America, so you can negotiate the price and get them real cheap. And I really believe they're very safe. I mean, the crash testings on these cars is great, and I really believe they protect the occupants inside. And that's it. That's everything I can think of for this car. If there is anything I forgot or anything I didn't mention, please leave it in the comment section. I appreciate everyone watching. Thank you guys for sticking to the end, and I will catch you in the next one.